How did you get to Notre Dame? I mean, you're born and bred Detroit, and I mean, I'm assuming Michigan State. Not sure what other schools are looking at you, but can you kind of walk us through that process and tell a little bit about how you chose Notre Dame?
Yeah. So what happened with my decision? A lot of people don't know this, but coming out of high school, I was the number 2 linebacker in the country.
Okay,
I was the number one fullback in the country, but I was the number 2 linebacker in the country. The number 1 linebacker was Oliver Gibson.
No.
Yes, Oliver Gibson. My senior year of high school, he was the number 1 linebacker in the country. The number 2, I was the number 2. The number 3 linebacker was a guy by the name of Marvin Jones. Went to Florida State, played for the New York Jets for a ton of years.
Absolutely.
Well, at that time, most of the colleges were recruiting me to play linebacker. Michigan, they had me pegged to be the starting inside linebacker as a freshman. They had just lost one of their linebackers, and they wanted me to come in and play. Well, I didn't want to play linebacker. I was the number 1 fullback in the country, and so I was 238 pounds, and I ran like a 4.48.
Oh my Lord, roller people.
But I felt as though I was going to be a better fullback because I was only 5'11". My dad was 5'10", so I knew I wasn't going to be much taller. And so I said to myself, I would be smarter because I'll be a prototypical fullback.
Sure.
With the speed and the size, but I would be an undersized linebacker because I wouldn't be 6'1" or 6'2" like a lot of the other inside or outside linebackers. So I said I want to play running back. The problem was there wasn't many schools that wanted me to play running back because like Michigan, they were a tailback oriented offense.
Right.
So I was going to do a lot of blocking, but then they said, hey, you can play like Leroy Horde, you can play a fullback, tailback type, but they had already showed their hand and wanted me to play inside linebacker.
Right.
I went on a visit. They had me on the scoreboard. Inside linebacker, and I'm like, I don't think so. So they tried to backtrack and then move and say, hey, we want you to play running back. But what they did, they ended up signing the number 1 tailback in the country.
Oh,
his name was Ricky Powers. And so at that point, I knew he was going to get more opportunities than I would. I was a fullback. He's a tailback. It's a tailback school. The odds aren't in my favor, right? I figured that. And as it turns out, it wouldn't have been in my favor. I would have been moved to linebacker, right?
Right, exactly.
And Coach Holtz, what he did, he was very clever. So he knew that there was this dilemma going on about linebacker, fullback, because, Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, all of them wanted me to play linebacker.
Wow.
There was only a couple schools that wanted me to play running back. The schools that wanted me to play running back was Notre Dame, USC, Tennessee, Colorado.
Wow.
Right? Those were the schools that wanted because some of them ran option, that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
Well, Notre Dame, Coach Holtz, his offense was really based around the fullback.
Right.
Okay. So you had Johnson, then you had
Rodney Culver.
Rodney. So you had the fullbacks that did a lot of the heavy lifting in the option, but also when they went to 3 wide receivers, the fullback was the running back stayed in the game.
Okay.
He got screen passes. He did some blocking. He did some running. So the fullback was very integral to Coach Holtz's offense.
Right.
I love that. And then he said, on top of that, if you come here, I won't recruit another fullback until your sophomore year. No, until your junior year.
Okay.
And I was like, whoa, okay. And so, he said to your sophomore year, but he said a year or so.
Okay.
And I was like, you know what? I like that idea. I'm good with that, and that's basically how it happened. He he was true to his word. And I came in, and unfortunately, I came in. I got banged up in my state all-star game, so I came in a little bit behind the gun, and so they had to work me in. But it worked out because ultimately, I never got to 6'1". I'm 5'11" and 3/4. That's what I finished up at. So I think I did the right thing in terms of playing running back as opposed to playing linebacker. Now, I'll tell you this. Everybody in the state of Michigan and in Detroit were pissed at me.
I could imagine.
I did not go to Michigan. And so it was a very, very rough time when I came home.